Stefon Diggs here. I'm here at the first practice, the first fall practice. They out here getting it in, man. Shout out to my Terps and go Commanders. Let's go.
What's up, Commanders fans? Welcome into the Command Post. That's Trev. I'm Brian. We are glad to be back after a long, eventful summer. We're here to talk training camp, big free agency signing. It's the beginning of August, which means next month real football is being played. Almost there. We're almost there. I can't wait. We'll get to all of that. But Trev, like I said, it's been a minute, my man. How are you doing? How's the summer been?
Oh man, it's been great. Just got back from vacation about a couple weeks ago. Went across the world to Thailand. You just went to some
Oh,
beach, I think, up north, right? In the northern part
yep.
of the country. So it's good to be back. Time flew by. Kind of felt like it did when I was there, but after coming back, it's like, man, that was pretty fast. But I'm excited to get back to talk about Commanders because we got some things to talk about, bro. Football's
That
back.
that is absolutely right. Yeah, vacation always goes by too quick. But the good thing is that means the fall is almost here. School is
Mm-hmm.
back, which means football is
Mm-hmm.
back, which means the
Mm-hmm.
Commanders are right around the corner from their first game against the Eagles coming up, man. Like I said, next month. But a big signing this week. We had
Yeah.
been talking about it, feels like for months and months. Would this team add a receiver? We thought it might be someone else, but it's Stefon Diggs. Stefon
Yes.
Diggs returning to the DMV, played for Maryland. He will be signing with the Commanders. Sounds like he will be back out on the practice field. We're recording this on Thursday. They'll be back out on Friday. It sounds like he will be there. Man, I think this is a big addition. I think it's a big deal for this team. I think it's huge that it's happened this late in the offseason. What are your thoughts, man? I mean, Stefon Diggs, a guy that is well known across the NFL, will now be playing for our Commanders.
Uh, he's back home. He wanted to come back home. He was just waiting for the right opportunity, the right time to make it happen, and it's happened. We needed it. I didn't think it was such a glaring hole nationally that it has been reported, at least. So for us to go get him and fill that nationally known voided hole that we had in the wide receiver room is incredible. Brandon Ayuk, that's a whole situation that we thought would unfold, and I honestly thought here that since he calmed down on social media that he might actually become a commander, probably later on in the preseason or like in the first few weeks of the season, but that didn't happen. They pivoted and went to Stefon Diggs, and I think it's great for the wide receiver room, great for the city, great for the team as a whole, great for us as fans too.
Yeah, I second that. Not to be boring, but I totally agree. Yeah, the Brandon Ayuk stuff kind of went off the rails. We had been
Yeah.
talking about at the beginning of the summer, all that craziness. It is what it is. But yeah, Stefon Diggs, man, he is a legit game changer, and he's coming off 1,000-yard season, which not like 2 years ago, not 3 years ago. Last year, he was 1,000-yard receiver for a team that went to the Super Bowl. I mean,
Yeah.
sign me up for that. I think it's a
Yeah.
home run. The fact that you're getting him this late into training camp.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you could argue, why did it take so long? Obviously, the need for some has been out there, but the
Yeah.
fact that you're getting this guy a month before the season starts, I think it's huge for Adam Peters. I think it's huge for Dan Quinn. I think it's huge for David Blau and of course Jayden Daniels and for what he brings to this offense. We talked about what the wide receiver room might look like with Brandon Ayuk, with another wide receiver. But I think this is
Yeah.
all a positive, man. I've heard
Mm-hmm.
pretty solid things coming out of training camp from the wide receivers. It sounds like Luke McCaffrey has done really well. It kind of sounds like to me that they're kind of hiding Antonio Williams. I think they have a solid guy there, so they're kind of
Mm-hmm.
keeping him on the DL. Diami and Van Jefferson sound like the ultimate pros, guys that have been there for a while. So this just adds to this room. It kind of elevates everybody. And when we're coming into summer, when we're coming into training camp, talking about Diami Brown, Traylon Burks, one of these guys is your wide receiver too. It sounds so much better now that you have Stefon Diggs, wide receiver two, McCaffrey, wide receiver three, Burks four, whatever the lineup may be. It sounds
Mm-hmm.
way better, man. I mean, of course, it's on paper. You got to have it play out. They got to gel. They
Right.
got to make it happen. But going into to joint practices in the preseason, you got to feel
Yeah.
pretty good about this offense.
I do feel pretty good about the offense. Stephon Diggs brings not only production, more production on the field, but another style of I don't know, notoriety to the organization. We've already got kind of been put on the map with Jayden Daniels' performance 2 years ago, the Rookie of the Year performance, and the how far we went NFC Championship. To his, being on quarterback for Netflix even during his injured year last year, but he still, is part of that series. That's nationally, it's a lot of notoriety for the national side of things. And now we have Stefon Diggs, who has been not everywhere, but been on some winning teams in his past. He's a well-known vet, well-known face in the NFL, sometimes a franchise face from the previous places he's been. So, and the fact that, bro, he chose us over Pat Mahomes, Andy Reid. They were reported that they weighed in. The Raiders were reported they weighed in, and I think the Dolphins were also another team that checked in, and we checked in, of course, too. And he picked us. Besides the obvious reasons coming back home, like, what do you think about that? Like, he had a chance to go play with Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid, bro. Like, that's just not just anybody. Yeah, he's coming off of an ACL injury. Pat Mahomes really bad, but he chose us, dude.
Yeah, I think that's really big. I think it speaks well of Jayden Daniels, of what Washington has done recently, because you think back even 5-6 years ago, there's no way a guy like that is wanting to come to this team. It's just the truth.
No.
So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
just it speaks volumes to where this team is at. And you know, there shouldn't be no excuses, right? I mean, you have enough guys to go compete. We heard Jayden Daniels that they put 2025 in the rearview mirror, and you know, this is another example of that. Now it's time to go out. You got a big start to the season, a tough start to the season. Go upset a couple of those teams and get on the right start, and see if you can't make magic happen and go above and beyond 2024. So yeah, I'm really excited. I think that it is crazy. I mean, obviously he's not the same player. He's 32 now, but it is really cool when a guy wants to play for your team. And so Washington is in a good spot. I think he's really going to help. He's that veteran that we talked about before, you know, kind of our break, like Zach Ertz. Where is that veteran leadership? You know, Terry McLaurin is a veteran, and Jayden
Yeah.
Daniels, you know, is the leader of the team, but a guy that's been there, done that in big situations to go alongside Terry McLaurin, I think that is huge. I think it's just going to elevate everybody. And I feel really good about the offense. I will say I wish, you know, you could have gotten him in sooner, but I like the timing of it. You know, let him stay fresh, let him be ready, and hopefully he just kind of hits the ground running, kind of learn the playbook, getting everything in and getting going. But yeah, really a home run this late in the offseason, adding a guy like this. It kind of reminds me of 2024 to a higher degree. The fact that you signed
Mm-hmm.
Noah Brown after cuts and the impact
Mm-hmm.
that he made in that 2024 season. I think Stefon Diggs, more established, no offense to Noah Brown, but he could have that same kind of effect, maybe even more for this offense. And that's really exciting. And again, I don't think there are any excuses. This team has the players, has the pieces in place. Why not then? Go compete, go show what that last year was a total fluke, that injuries just kind of bit this team tore it apart,
Yeah.
and go jump out there and start 2026 with a bang.
And for me, with the wide receiver room, it kind of eases my mind and eases my anxiety with that too, as well, for as far as who they keep and who they cut. I
Yeah.
think that room is deep enough to where if we have to stash a Van Jefferson or Traylon Burks or something like that on the practice squad, that I would be okay with that, because injuries happen, and to know that we have somewhat established guys on the PS squad that can come in and fill that need is great. Now we have a top two receiving core. I've been wanting this for so long, and
Hmm.
I've been fighting with so many different people about that. That the Commanders need a 1-2 punch at wide receiver room, because game planning for one receiver makes it really hard for offense to be successful. And now we have not only one, we have two now with Stefon Diggs. So
Yeah, and there's a multiverse out there. I truly believe that, you know, Debo Samuel last year made a big impact too. Like, they tried to do that,
for
injuries
sure,
didn't work out. You know, the offensive scheme changes. You know, happy for
yeah.
Debo going back to San Francisco, but you're absolutely right. The fact that these are two guys that are legit wide receiver ones, or have been at different points in their
Hmm.
career, is huge for this team. It's huge for Jayden Daniels, for a young quarterback. We've seen what Stefon Diggs has done for young quarterbacks. I mean, Drake May, his one season with Stefon Diggs, goes to the Super Bowl. The year
Yeah.
before that, he's playing in Houston with CJ Stroud. I mean, he fell off a little bit, you know,
Hmm.
after his rookie season, but also Stefon
Hmm.
Diggs missed half the season. He was well on pace for another 1,000-yard season in 2024, and then we know what he did in Buffalo with
Yeah.
Josh Allen, who at that point was still early on in his career. I mean, he's a legit target for a young quarterback, for any quarterback, but it makes you feel really good for our young quarterback that he's got a second guy that he can rely on out wide. I mean, it was nice to have Zach Ertz over the middle of the field, and I think Stefon
Yeah.
Diggs can offer you some of that, but I
Yeah.
think it's different having two bona fide, legit wide receivers like Jayden Daniels will have now. You're absolutely right, and it's got to be the first time, and I've heard it all over the place, it's got to be the first time that Terry McLaurin's been lined up from a guy like this. I think even Terry McLaurin, still quote unquote relatively young, I think I saw that Stefon Diggs has more catches than the entire rest of the receiving room
Yeah.
combined, and that includes Terry McLaurin, which blew my mind because we Terry's been around for what, I think maybe his 8th year. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is a big deal, and again, it's all on paper. We know he's 32, but you got to feel excited about this and what this could unlock for Jayden Daniels, for David Blau, for this offensive scheme.
And just to piggyback on that, I mean, it sounds like with David Blau's scheme that this is going to be a very explosive, very tricky, very high octane, high powered offense. So Stefon Diggs fits in that very, very well. I'm just happy that we got our guy, man. We got our guy.
Yeah,
Now we're just waiting to find out who the corresponding move, what the corresponding move is
that's a good point.
after bringing him on. I don't know who that could be. Maybe River Craycraft. Maybe somebody from a different position group. You got an idea?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say River Craycraft made me think of what jersey number he's going to wear. Craycraft is currently in 88. We
Yeah.
know his 1 and his 14 and his 8 are all taken right now. So I'm
Yes.
intrigued to see that. Maybe by the time you listen to this, we'll see what number he is out on the practice field. But yeah, some corresponding moves. But that's, I don't want anybody to lose their job, but it is exciting to have this guy back in town.
Yeah,
Again,
man.
played at Maryland. It's really cool, and I'm excited for what it can mean for the offense. So I'm excited to look at that over the next couple of weeks as they go into a joint practice with Miami next week, as they ramp up the preseason. And we are less than, I believe, 40 days away from the opener against the Eagles. So he has a little over a month to gel with Jayden Daniels, which I think Jayden Daniels could gel with anybody. I think that's just kind of
Yeah.
so.
I
I'm not
think
worried
so
about
too.
that. I'm just excited to see what they unveil and maybe what they're hiding over the preseason. They can surprise some of these teams, obviously starting with the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Seahawks. But that is a month from now. What are some other things that you've heard from training camp? I know that we have been on vacation, but I'm sure you're like me. You've been tuned in. You've been reading things. You've been seeing things about not
Yeah.
just this offense, but Durante Jones's defense sounds very promising. What is
Yeah.
maybe one or two overarching things that you have been encouraged by or heard over training camp over these last couple of weeks?
I want to start off with the defense because we've been on this wide receiver quarterback talk for a while. I'm just happy to hear about how fast we are, how young we are, how aggressive it's sounding. It sounds like we're giving JD5 some fits.
Love
JD5 is
it.
JD5 and he's handling it, but it sounds like we're giving him fits. People are saying that this is people who've been to the camps in the previous years and have attended this year's are saying like the defense from the past and now is night and day. I think you have to give that credit to Dan Quinn and AP for recognizing that this defense needed to be faster and younger and not so much name notoriety, but style of play. And it sounds like everybody they've picked up this offseason is a home run hit for this defense. Sonny Styles is commanding it. Frankie Louvu is sounds like he's returning back to the 2024 Frankie Louvu that we got. Um, some DB. The cornerback room was interesting.
Mhm.
Very interesting. We had one that just retired, Witherspoon, Akella Witherspoon, who was a free agent signing. He just padded practice and then retired the next day, which
I
allowed
get
us
it.
to be
Maybe
able
just
to.
yeah, maybe just saw, hey, you know what? It's not for me anymore. I've had a
Yeah.
solid career. It's time. I don't blame him. But yeah,
Yeah.
Fabian Moreau takes his spot. But yeah,
Yeah, and then we get Russell Douglas, and then Mikey Sanderstill is having some struggles in camp. I guess you could say as the one who's been noted to have the most struggles out of camp is Mikey Sanderstill. So I don't know, man. DB room is still kind of tricky, but overall the defense sounds like it's humming on all cylinders, and that's great to hear. Now I know it's practice, and we're going against the same people every day, and hopefully we get to see maybe a shell of it during preseason, but The true test is week one when we see how this defense is against somebody that we haven't seen before. But just to hear how fast that we're gelling and getting this new scheme under our belts is really good to hear.
I agree, and there are so many names that you touched on, and there are so many more names that
I
you
did
didn't even get to, which is, I think, again, kind of like the wide receiver room. You sign a guy and it moves some guys down. That's not a knock on them. It just adds to
no.
that depth, and it's the same thing. Like I don't even think you mentioned Nick Cross,
Mm-mm.
Leo Chenal. I mean, these are guys that brought in that are now probably allowing guys like Jordan McGee and Kane Medrano, and then in the safety room Percy Butler, some of those guys to
Tyler
develop a little bit
Owens.
more, Tyler Owens, instead of being thrown out there in situations that they're not ready for. And I think that is
Yeah.
huge. I agree. Yes, you got to do it on the field. It's fun to do it against your own team in practice. I'm intrigued by what next week looks like with the joint practice with the Dolphins. But yeah, everything you hear sounds really good, and it sounds like stuff we haven't heard in a long time. I don't blame Dan Quinn. You got to do what you got to do to fill out a roster after a bad regime
Mm-hmm.
beforehand. Now you're in year three, and you hope that these guys that you're bringing in that you have basically handpicked. I mean, the roster is turned over enough that this is basically all Adam Peters and Dan Quinn's team. Now it's time to put it out on the field. So I'm excited to hear it in training camp. But like you said, we got to see it out on the field as well. But yeah, I love the speed that they're playing with. We talked about it maybe after the mini camp that we talked about all these different guys, and then Sonny Styles wasn't even mentioned. And I love that. I
Right.
love the fact that this defense, it sounds like it's going to come from different areas, from different layers, from different parts of the field. And I'm excited to see what they have in store for some of these teams, and can they catch a couple of these teams off guard? We talked about that with the season coming up. Maybe we're getting the Eagles at a good spot, the Cowboys at a good spot, because they haven't seen
Yeah.
either one of our coordinators' systems. Are there some things that we can throw out there that
Mm-hmm.
catches them off guard? So obviously, every team is game planning. Everybody sounds great when they're in shorts and shells and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm almost at a point where I'm over training camp. I know we're we're
Yeah.
we're like a week in
Same.
maybe, but I
Same.
just want to get to the real stuff. But I know this stuff is important to lay the foundation. I just want to see
Mm-hmm.
it out on the field. I'm just itching, man.
I got another one. Sounds like our kicking game has a true
Yes.
competition. We're not actually bringing in new kickers every week before training camp or during training camp to bring some competition. It sounds like we already have that established in that room, so that's good to hear. And then also for the offense, just David Blau sounds like he's being a wizard out there. Once again, people who have been out there saying the offense is fast, formations, or some are lined up like are the same formations but different plays coming out of that formation, foreign things, making it hard for defense to figure out what we're doing on offense. And I like it, like take it with a grain of salt. It's against the same people every day, but you just like to hear that because I feel like if we weren't, if that wasn't happening, we'd hear about it and we'd have some animosity to talk about right now, but we don't because everything sounds like it's moving right at the right speed and right along at the right timeline as AP and DQ would like and company.
Yeah, I love it, and like I said, they're in year three. It's kind of a put up or shut up. Like you've seen two different versions of this team.
Yeah.
You hope that last year was an anomaly, but it sounds like all on paper that they've done the right things. They've built a pretty solid team. Now it's putting it together, not just on paper, not just in practice, but against
Yeah.
these other opponents. And honestly, I'm excited, man. Like I don't have high. I don't want to set high expectations and come on here and
No.
say they're going to win the division. They're going to go back to winning 12 games, but I'm just excited to see what they have out there. And if we're hearing the right things or doing the right things every day in practice, I think that will translate. But either way, I'm just excited to see them out there and see what they can do. And it sounds like they're moving in the right direction. So, more practice coming up, more joint practices, preseason, all that. We're almost there. What are a couple of things that you're looking forward to as the summer wraps up, as we move into September and these games start to matter? What are one or two things that you're hoping to hear, hoping to that they can fix, that they can shore up? Anything that you're thinking about?
I'm hoping the cornerback room gets shored up.
Yeah,
I hope Trey Amos, that health situation is just a cautious thing and not something super serious as he's trying to heal from his injury. I don't want to keep signing guys off the street in that room as the season gets started or as the season goes. And then I'm also looking forward to our wide receiver room. Honestly, this is probably going to be like the first time we've had a solidified wide receiver room in a long time. Um, bringing back Diami, he's not just a jag. I mean, he's a I don't call him a jag, but he's not just a name anymore. He's an established vet. He's been in the system before. We got Van Jefferson on the squad, who's won a Super Bowl with the Rams before. We've got Stefon Diggs now. We got Tim McLaurin. Like we have a solidified wide receiver room. So I'm looking forward to see how that shores up and how many to keep in that. But mainly, I'm just concerned about the cornerback room right now. It's a lot of revolving doors, revolving pieces. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, I think along those lines, I agree with you. It's not great that a guy retires. All jokes aside, in the middle of training camp, it is what it
Yeah.
is. But yeah, you don't want that to start, like you said, the revolving door all season long. Along those same lines, I'm not overly nervous. I am keeping an eye on the center position. Nick Allegretti goes down early on. They sign a veteran, quote unquote, a veteran in Trey Hill. I think he has like 3 games started in his career.
Yeah.
Julian Good-Jones has not played a lot, and
He's not.
you got Matthew Golban, 6th-round rookie.
Yeah.
So hopefully Nick Allegretti can get back out there. That's a position that is really important. If you can't get the ball to the quarterback effectively, call out protections, all these fun bells and whistles just aren't going to work. So I'm not panicking, but I am intrigued by it and kind of what it looks like moving forward.
I honestly wasn't so high on Nick Allegretti being our starting center in the first place. I liked him more of the guard he's normally accustomed to playing. I know he's had some time at center and this and that, but I would much have rather us gone out and get an established veteran center rather than one who's done it before.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So
Yeah.
yeah, this injury is a huge blow, of course, but like at the same time, I was like, well, I really wasn't sold on him being the starting center anyway. So
Yeah, and I think it explains why they were kind of in on Tyler Linderbaum before he went to the Raiders. Ethan Pochich or whatever his name was ended up with the Ravens after being with the Browns. Yeah, I thought and maybe they still do when rosters get trimmed down if there's a center out there
yeah,
that makes sense. But yeah, they brought in Trey Hill, which his numbers aren't very encouraging. He started 3 games as a rookie in 2021. Looks like he didn't play at all in 2023 and played 1 game in 2024. So I don't know the injury history there, but that was the veteran they brought in to go with Julian Good-Jones and Matthew Golban. You hope Nick Allegretti's fine, and I guess we'll see as the weeks move on. But that is definitely just got to put an asterisk by that one to come back to.
real quick before we get out of here, that makes it interesting. What if we signed Tyler Lindenbaum? How different would this team look after that huge signing? Because he got paid a lot of money, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think the Ravers. I combined the Ravens and the Raiders. I think the Raiders. It sounded like they were just kind of writing out a blank check, from what I remember. It just sounded
Yeah.
like they weren't going to get outbid. But yeah, that would. I don't know what that would do cash wise, but if you added this to this team, you'd feel like you're pretty good. You got a pretty solid offensive line, which I still think they have a solid offensive line as a whole.
Yeah.
But center is a big part of that, and you just hope that they're right in Nick Allegretti and he's okay. But yeah, that would be a game changer,
Because
man.
like, what if we got him, but then we would lose like maybe Chanel, maybe Nick Cross wouldn't come,
Yeah,
maybe. So it's like, would you rather go all in for a center or do what we did and went all in everywhere else, especially on defense, and then
I
continue
like
to
the
add?
plan currently. Ask me again in a month when we're about to play, or 2 months when we're 4 or 5 games into the season. Maybe the answer will be different. I do like that Nick Allegretti has been part of the team. It's not like a guy that is just coming in,
Right.
not
Yeah.
doing it before, and he's played center before. So if that can work out, that would be huge. It's a cheap upgrade. In a way, it kind of makes you wonder why Tyler Biotish is not still here. I know that he's not like the same guy that he used to be, but getting rid of your starting center for basically 2 years might end up biting you in the butt. So
Right.
hopefully that's the case. We got to put a pin in it. You can't really. It's hard to tell. Does Allegretti come back and does he crush it? I don't know, but it's definitely something that you got to look at. Just like you got to look at the cornerback room. They're
Hmm.
betting on some of their guys. They're betting on some of their moves, and you hope that those pay off, but it's definitely something to just keep in the back of your mind
Yeah, for
as we
sure.
roll through August into September. And the season
Yes.
is right around the corner, my man. We are so close. I can taste it. I'm already doing mock drafts and fantasy. We are almost there. It is almost go time. We will be with you every step of the way. The command post. No more vacations for me.
Me
Can't
neither.
afford it, literally.
Yeah.
But we are gonna be right back at it, breaking everything down every week. Stay with us, Trev. Anything to add before we get out of here?
Preseason game one for the entire league is tonight. I got Panthers and Cardinals.
That's
So
right.
Carson Beck and Kenny Pickens, if you guys care. But it's football. I'll be tuned in. I'll be at work, but I'll have it on tuned in. But yeah, until next week, go Commanders.
We'll see you guys.